things go smoothly with less effort, where my life seems to take a lot of effort and doesn't always go so smooth. Well, so I say to myself, when terrible things happen, kind of rough things are happening to me right now, honestly, as I find myself in this country, which I'm really loving. But it's not easy. It's not easy to come here. It's not easy to be in a foreign country where you don't speak the language and try to reinvent yourself. And that's one of the reasons why, the fact that I worked at Warner Brothers, I'm a sound video camera engineer type guy. I did all these amazing things on TV shows and movies that you've heard of probably, like Friends and ER. And now with YouTube, it's like you can have your own studio or your own show. It's kind of what this is. And again, is why I'm going to ask you guys again, please subscribe, because I would love to do this full time, and I really want to stay in Serbia. I don't like moving around. I like, getting to know a place. I like to be consistent in my life. And I don't want to live. I would like to set myself up here. I mean, like I said, I've been here 2 years, and 10 years from now, I'd like to be able to say, hey, I've been here 10 years, and hopefully I'll be telling you that in Srpski. This green building here, this is really neat. It's different, very different. I guess, is that an old building that they just painted? Because that's a very unique thing that they did. Yeah, very unique. I like it. I like to live down here. Yeah, I have no desire to go back to Los Angeles. It's a whole different world there now. And granted, you can make a lot more money there, but everything costs so much more. I mean, it's 3,000 euro for a studio apartment. Maybe 2,000 if you're lucky, and it's far out from the city. Yeah, this place is really neat. Whoever did this did a great job. Granite Invest, it says. I love the old buildings. I mean, there's like a tower across the street here. It's really neat. I would live in that. Exchange office. You see a lot of exchanges here. What's common to use here, of course, it's the dinar, but the euro also. People here like to collect euros. When you see rents, they're often in euro. Or if you buy a car or buy something, a house, it's often displayed in euro. And that's cool. Yeah, look at this building. This building is really amazing. To me, it looks like some kind of a fire station or something. I mean, it definitely is a lookout because it's tall and thin like that. Or it was a lookout. I don't know. Where should we go? Let's go across the street. Yeah, look at these places. Yeah, I'd be a terrible interviewer. I'm always running away from people. I like to observe and do commentary on the side, I guess. Let's see what's in here. And there's bamboo. Bamboo grows everywhere, you know? I mean, bamboo is all over in California. It has very invasive roots. That's so cool, that building. So looks like they're trying to save it. I love that. Anyway, back to pre-birth planning. So I like thinking about this topic because there's been really some horrendous things that have happened to me in my life. And they're horrendous because I've enjoyed great things. And there's nothing worse than falling from grace. That's the most painful thing to go from being rich to being poor. To go from, you know, being able to do whatever you want to not having enough food to eat and literally looking in people's yards for fruit trees so you can have a bite. And I have experienced that. That honestly I kind of did to myself on purpose to experience it, but it lasted too long. And that was my mistake. I thought I was going to get out of that a lot quicker. And I ended up going nearly 6 months with nothing. I mean nothing. To where, you know, there's a pizza place down the street from my house, and I was living in a house. I was in a really nice neighborhood. And I had no cash anymore. I'd run out. And I would literally wait for this pizza place to close. They close at 11 p.m. And I would ride, you know, a block or two, well, not like literally 5 blocks down the street. And I would look in the dumpster. I wouldn't eat out of the dumpster per se. You know, it wasn't that bad. Because they literally would throw away the pizzas that nobody bought, the last ones that they made, and they were still in the box. And sometimes they were, every time they were like uneaten, you know, they were fresh and new and still hot. They were laying on top, like somebody didn't just mangle the box up. They placed it in there real nice and neat, so because of that, I would like go down there, and I learned that I could get food for days by doing that. So just to say, you know, I've been through some bad stuff, and I'll tell you more about that as I get more comfortable opening up. I'm actually a really private person. I have moments where I talk a lot of shit, but I'm pretty private. So this is very much an apartment kind of neighborhood here, a residential area. I bet you these places, they don't come up for rent a lot. I think people are pretty settled in here. Well, it's hard for somebody from the outside to get to know these things. The current place I've been in for nearly 2 years, and before that I was at a hotel, a really nice hotel. But I used City Expert, I think is the name of the website. And that's how I found my listing that I'm in now. But a lot of these places, I bet you they never come up for rent that way. They're never listed per se, because word of mouth gets the next renter. I don't know if this is still dorsal here. Anyways, I'm losing my train of thought here. I was saying about pre-birth planning. I'm really hooked on this topic because I'm not a stupid person. And yet, I have done things that at the time, either I didn't see the consequence, or, you know, maybe I took a gamble, or I don't know. I thought it was the right thing to do, and it ended up biting me in the ass. I swing for the bleachers. I generally do that, because when you hit that home run, it's all good. And you know, I had plenty of times where I hit that home run, but the times that you don't, it is rough. So what I mean to say about that, there's certain things that are going to happen to you in life. There's certain destinations that are just there. And you have free will, of course. And free will might determine how much you have to deal with those things, but they're on your path. They're going to be on your path every time. Probably no matter what you do, certain things are meant to be on your path. And like I said, my mom had friends that were psychics. One was Kenny Kingston. He was a very famous psychic. And he told me that my 48th year was going to be either the best or the worst. Depends on how I look at it. And wow, was he right? I mean, I didn't see that coming at all. And eventually I will share all these things with you, but at the moment I'm still shy. And also, I'm in this country by myself. Look at that building. I think I've seen this one before. It's so thin and tall. I would love to live in that. But yeah, I'm here by myself, and I'm an introvert that has moments where I can be an extrovert. My job at Warner Brothers was awesome for me. I lived so close. I rode my bicycle. And Warner Brothers is like a city, small city. I got all my social interactions throughout the day. With the other employees of the small city. And then I went home. And I didn't have to interact with anybody anymore, and I could chill. Yeah, it's very unique. I mean, I don't think there's a structure like that in all of America. So, because of the fact that there's certain things that are gonna happen to you, you're meant to experience while you're here. And you could say to yourself, well, why on earth would I have chosen to go through these terrible things? But we do this for growth. Have you ever heard people say that we're living in a simulation? This is a concept I never even considered until I first heard it. Even Elon Musk, he says, you know, the numbers calculate that we're not in base reality, that we are living in a simulation. And, you know, our own Bible says we are already in higher places. So there's something to all that. So we come here for experiences. And people that you interact with, people that do you good, they're your buddies, maybe your best friends or wives, or all the way to the people that, you know, if your wife divorces you, that could have been for sure on the agenda for your life, so you could experience this. Yep. It definitely changes you as a person when things like that happen. And that's ultimately how you grow as a human. And maybe we're not even human. Maybe we come here from other planets even, well, we're not human. Other dimensions. I mean, I don't know. Some people really think they know all these things, but you can't know. Even with all our books, the Bible and the OSP, the Quran, the Torah, you know, the Bhagavad Gita, they all share a lot of information, but there's no way to know. But there was a time that I was trying to share the video about pre-birth planning with my wife. And right as we were settling in to do that, a bag fell, like it was pushed over. At a moment where I think I was saying, hey, this is real. This is what I have been told by my mom from across dimensions that this is real. And the bag fell. Now, it was so vivid to me. Of course, she says that didn't happen, but I sure remember it. It's funny in life, you know, you remember things different from other people. That's why history, you know, history is written by the victor. But even then, you know, things that I know about history, they've changed. People's recollection of things change. People's ideas about things change. I mean, when I was young, honestly, in America, where all the cultures kind of like divide, they fall into this melting pot. And in the 60s and 70s, that was so pronounced, and it was first being recognized, that this comedy about this whole thing was really normal. And I look back on that comedy now, And it's almost taboo. It's like, how could you speak that way? In particular, Mel Brooks. I love Mel Brooks. He's the director and producer and the writer of one of my favorite movies of all time, Blazing Saddles. And he also did History of the World Part 1. If you don't know those films, you should watch them. But at the same time, I've tried to show them to my wife, who's Serbian, and she doesn't laugh at that. She kind of finds it offensive. So humor doesn't translate really well, always, to other cultures. And actually, now that I've been here a little while, and I hear what's funny here, it's definitely different. It's culturally different. I think about, what is that? I don't even know the names of these people, but there was a guy, a young Serbian guy, he would go to work in the morning and he'd sit in front of his computer, light a cigarette, have his coffee, and he would prank call this older man. And he would say things like, "Maimune." He's calling him a monkey, or he's making like pig sounds and stuff. It's funny. It reminds me of like the prank callers that we had in America too. But certainly people would find that offensive. I think older people would probably find it really offensive. So it's funny how things change. Times change. What's acceptable changes. When I was a kid, if you said something about the blue hairs, people with blue hair, that referred to an old lady. Only old ladies have blue hair. And now, the blue hairs, they're not old. That's kind of the young, maybe woke these days. Used to be kind of the punk look. In my generation,